Well, all right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get underway. Again, welcome to the Maximum Performance webinar series. This is Eric Janesco, head coach and CEO with Maximum Acceleration, the professionals coaching company. This is the next installment of today's program that we're going to be going through today. And a couple of quick housekeeping things to get you guys started properly. This program was designed originally to create a community of learning. We started this program back in the beginning of October as a way of getting good ideas and information, timely strategies to you to help you grow your mortgage business. The reason we did that is because we wanted to create this community of learning and environment. I want to congratulate and applaud all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to invest in yourself as we work through the ideas that we're going to share with you today. So there's a couple of cool things that we're going to be talking about today off the heels of last week's webinar and off the heels of some of the comments and feedback we got from the program we did in early April, the spring training webinar, Power Up Your Presentation Skills. One of the key ideas or comments that we've all talked about that's important to the growth of our business is being able to reach a larger audience in a shorter period of time. And we talked a little bit about the concepts and ideas of how to get in front of the people who can most benefit from the current housing opportunity. You know, as we all know, we have one of the best housing affordability opportunities in American history. In fact, you probably even have to go, I don't know, I mean, you know, to find housing that was more affordable than it is right now, I think you'd have to go back to Moses, I think. But, you know, when you look at these incredibly low interest rates and the relatively stable to even depressed real estate values across most of the country, we are dealing with an all-time affordability. But that window of opportunity is closing rapidly. We start watching the high-index markets like Southern California, Northeast, Boston, New York, New Jersey. We're starting to see housing take off, and we're starting to see a much more competitive price pressure on the cost of homes. And as homes accelerate 10, 15, 20% growth in property value and interest rates climb up another point or two, all of a sudden there's going to be a significant restriction to housing affordability. So now is the time to get the message out there to the people who can most benefit from buying a home in the current market. And so off the heels of some successful webinars that we've done in the previous couple of weeks, I've asked Derek Egeberg back, who's kind of an expert at information seminar marketing and how to organize successful home opportunity workshops to engage those folks who are most likely to benefit from this incredible housing opportunity. So I've asked him to share with us some of the strategies he's using as a very successful originator in Yuma, Arizona, to be able to engage buyers and get them going and get them started down the path towards home ownership, taking advantage of this incredible housing opportunity. So, Derek, I'm going to turn it over to you, let you kind of run through the program, and then, of course, folks, we will be doing a live Q&A towards the end of the event, so you want to make sure you stick around for that. As you guys are coming up with questions, though, throughout Derek's program, feel free to go ahead and post them in the Q&A section so that we'll be able to respond to those when we get to that section of the program. Otherwise, Derek, thank you again for joining us and being willing to invest your time in this audience and help us learn how to make a huge impact in a short period of time.
I appreciate it, Eric. Thank you very much for having me. And I think what I would start by saying is I want everybody to think about this as simply a farming or a fishing expedition. And by that I mean if you are going to go out there and start fishing, he who has the biggest net, he who has the most ability to pull fish in, eats the most. So are you going out there with a single rod and reel? Are you casting a net, if you will? Or how big of a net can you actually pull in? And that, for me, is all the seminars really are, is I want to be able to cast a wider net. I want to be able to affect more than one person at a time and basically leverage my time. Now, there's a couple of key thoughts that I want to position this whole talk about. Is this is what it could look like, is you can fill up a room with 250 people, and you can then effectively talk to more than one person at a time. But how do you leverage your time, and how do you get that many people in there? Eric, I have no idea how many people are actually on our call today, but my question to everyone on the call is, what are your expectations? Why did you come to this seminar? What would cause you to commit to this seminar? What do you hope to gain? And really, what do you not want to hear? And that's the exact same information that you need to be presenting to your audience. And so with that, I'm assuming that everybody who's on this call wants to get information they can use to benefit their business and their life. They want to be able to benefit their team. They want to come away feeling that this was well worth their time, but you don't want to be sold. You don't want to say, hear the old, well, for $29.95 you can access these types of information. And unfortunately, that's what most people believe seminars and sales pitches are, is there's the package you have to buy at the very end, and that's not why you have a seminar. And so what I want you to do is figure out, how do you lose yourself in this whole seminar bit, or how do you not sell but quietly sell to your clients? So what are your expectations for your clients? They're the exact same thing as your clients are going to want. It's education, no sales commitment, really useful information. They all are there for personal questions. Whether it's, is my credit okay? Whether it's, is my income going to survive? Whatever it is, and you know what? Some of them are there for free stuff. And let's it is what it is. Some people go to events because they have the ability to win a door prize, but that's their reason for being there, not necessarily your reason for putting it on. So you have to answer all of their questions to make it a very useful presentation. So the top 10 things that I would ever put together, and my whole bit in this is I want to get lost in the event. I want to be the key person. I want to be the one who's giving out great information, but I don't want it to be a sales pitch about me. So the minute I've ever done one, it's me, I'm the only one giving information. It feels like a sales pitch. That's the event that you have 3, 4, 5 people on, and you wonder, why in heaven's name did you want to do this? And the second I started putting partners involved with this, and there's some other really good gentlemen that do some very similar seminars. Larry Montani has a couple of really good ideas on Loan Toolbox that he talks about how he puts together some seminars as well. And if you notice, both of us use partners. And for me, partners are, I don't care how many I get, I want as many as I can. I want them to donate prizes. I want to get lost in the middle of it, and I want to help defer some of my costs. So the big seminar that you saw pictured, here's all of the various sponsors that we had in, and some of them gave a simple door prize. Some of them actually gave a little bit of money to defer the cost of the venue. But if I can get lost in the middle of this, then I have the ability to turn this into an educational piece, not into a, hi, it's Derek Egeberg, and I'm going to sell you a mortgage today piece. So the first and foremost thing is come up with as many partners as you can. And I don't care if it's Starbucks on the corner or the mom and pop coffee shop. I don't care if it's a donut shop, a florist. If I can put their name and logo on it and they're going to give me something, they're going on it immediately. Now, as you've started identifying partners, they're all going to want to know, what's the date of this thing? When is this really going to happen? And what I would tell you is commit to the date, pick a date, commit to it, and then recommit to that date. There is no changing it, because your audience will want to know and make plans. Your partners are going to want to know we're serious, and you cannot change things as you go forward. Why? Because the second you give yourselves the out is the first time you stop doing the seminar. And when I first started doing these, I did the exact same thing. I said, well, I only have so many people registered, so I'm going to defer it 2 weeks. Or, well, I don't have enough sponsors, so I'm going to push this out a week. And all you're really doing is you're alienating the people that would actually show up, or you're alienating the sponsors that are helping you on the current one. So commit to the date and do not change it for anything. And whether 1 person or 100 people show up, get on stage, give them your best, do a great event, learn from it, and tweak the production strategies for the next one. The 2 times that I do are Saturday, either 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. That way you're not in the lunchtime. You can do both if you have enough people registered, or a weekday. And by that I mean a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening, never Monday or Friday, because some people are taking 3-day weekends. And you're going to get a very different crowd between Saturday and the weekday, partly because there are some people who work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and they would much rather go on a weekend. There are some people like police, firemen, nurses, border patrol, etc., that their schedule may only allow them to do a weekday in the evening. So I would try both, and I would do both at the same time. And if you can get a venue in the right way, do it Thursday evening at 6 o'clock and Saturday at 10 a.m. so you get both of those groups of people at the very same time, or in the same week, I should say. So once you've committed to the date and you have some partners, then what do? Number one, you've got to register. No matter what you do, you've got to ask people for their information. You have to do, or you can do, online registrations. You can do phone calls. You can do registration cards. And I don't care whether you do something like eventbrite.com, great free service that I use for all of mine. I leave in my various flyers, I leave a phone number with an extension here at the office, so I give them the office number extension, and there's an outgoing message on there that gives people a little bit more information, allows them to leave their name and phone number. In some of the marketing materials, there's registration cards. So I have 3 ways for people to register before the event, so I have a good idea of how big the venue should be. But even more importantly, everybody signs in at the door. There is no way you're going to win any of the free drawings unless you sign in at the door. And one of the things I've heard Eric preach for a long time is follow-up. If I don't have their registration information, how am I going to follow up on them just to find out if A, they found useful information, and B, more importantly, so I can continue to follow up on them to find out when the time is right that they actually need a mortgage. So the gathering of data up front gives you a good idea how big to set the venue up for. The registration at the door tells me I have to follow up with these people. And in a sales pitch, if you will, there's a good statistic that 80% of all sales happen after the 5th contact. And one of my assumptions or hypothesis is most people give up after the 1st or 2nd, and they don't ever contact somebody 5 different times, in which case we're giving that sale to somebody else. So really use the registration data over and over and over. Number 4, the venue. Do not position this as a sales event. Hotels are great, but I would much rather it be a neutral or educational environment. It could be your local civic center. It could be a library. It could be a school. It could be even a church. All 4 of those venues, for probably little or no cost, will allow you to use your venue. You may have to pay a small deposit. You may have to pay a cleanup fee. As an example, the local library where I am here, they charge $25 an hour. So if I want to reserve a room for 2 hours, okay, it's $50 out of pocket. I'm going to put a $60 deposit down. I have about $110 into the venue, and I'm going to get $60 of it back if I actually make sure that nobody spills anything on the floor. Most clients, and I'm guessing you yourselves are the same, you would much rather go to something that feels educational neutral, as opposed to if I say I'm going to have this sales training, this educational item at my office, and you have to walk into Academy Mortgage to hear this, you feel like you're being sold a mortgage, you feel like there's a commitment, and that's going to be a turnoff for some people. So come up with a neutral and educational venue, and something that is scalable, larger or smaller, depending on how many people you actually have register. Most importantly, because you don't want to have a hall register, or I should say the ability to put 200 people in there, and you leave it set up for 200 people and only 10 people show up. Conversely, if you have it set up for, let's say, 50 people and 80 people register, you better have some leeway to expand that just a little bit. You do want it to feel crowded. You do want it to feel like it's maxed out and there's some exclusivity in this. And having a couple people stand on the side is A-okay, but certainly not having 50% of your audience standing or not being able to get in the door. And the worst thing in the world is, imagine some of the big events you've been to, sales training. Don't forget that you walk into a venue and it looks like it's fairly well mapped out for the number of people are there. None of us would want to go to a major sales event, sit in the front row, and have nobody behind us. It would be fairly awkward. Number 5, your materials. You've got to come up with some great materials. Get them to leave with your information. And again, the only reason I want my materials there is I want my logo, I want my picture, I want my phone number, my email address, my address, anything I can get with them. I want them to leave with my information. But more importantly, it's not about me. It's about great information for this client, this family, this couple, whomever may want to buy. So here's just kind of an example. And if you'll notice, everything on the right-hand side in that pocket, we had some great information from a builder. We had some great information from a real estate agent. We had all of my loan and lending information. And for those of you who are Loan Toolbox subscribers, you'll notice 2 of the 4 materials over there are click, point, print, and right out of Loan Toolbox. There's some great ready-made materials out there. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You just have to swipe and adapt somebody's information. I guarantee you somebody somewhere has already put most of this information together. So beyond the materials, what do they want? What's going to get them there? At this point, it's some kind of a marketing workshop. You want to give them a reason to listen to the topics. You want to see the door prizes. You want to tell people exactly when and where. So I do items in the newspaper. I do flyers to all of my real estate agents. I do flyers to all of my B&I group. I put flyers in the Chamber of Commerce newsletter. Somehow, some way, they've got to have it in writing somewhere. And you'd be, I think, surprised at where most of the information comes from and where most of my registrants say they saw it. But we'll get back to that in a minute. But here's just a quick example of, I tell people what the topics are. We give them some kind of a door prize, which I don't purchase the door prize. That's going to be one of the sponsors who's giving away the door prize. And then we tell them when and where and how we're going to have refreshments, etc. Most importantly, what is your offer? And when I talked about getting lost in this as a referral partner, I still put my offer in there. So for me, my offer is always, I'm going to give you a free credit report. Come in. I'll give you 30 minutes of my time. I want to know your personal story, and let me guide you the way you and your family and your finances need this to be. Most importantly, right up front, look, everybody has issues on their credit reports. If you're in lending, you know that. So let's talk to everybody and say, hey, I'm going to give you a free credit report. Let me help guide you on how to clear up some of the errors, because statistically, I think this statistic is about 72% of all credit reports have an error on it somewhere, whether it's an address, whether it's a late payment, whatever it is. But I tell them that up front because I don't want somebody to be nervous about their credit, because you and I know they are all nervous about their credit, especially if they're a first-time home buyer. So you have an offer, but each one of your referral partners has an offer as well that you need to mix into the agenda. Now, the agenda is typically about an hour. I would never do it for more than about an hour and 15 minutes, depending on how many breaks you put in there. But when I say a 3 to 4 general topics, there's got to be a hot button somewhere. And what I'm seeing right now is housing authorities are coming back, and they're talking about down payment assistance. For the last 2.5 years, there really haven't been any good programs that help assist first-time home buyers. They're coming back into the market. They're coming back huge in Arizona anyway. You're going to have some kind of a presentation from you. You could talk about credit repair, whatever myths, mistakes, things you've seen. One of the ones that we capitalized on big time was the old tax credit, which you and I know is gone. But what's your topic? So if you start out, and I'm going to put the other two up on the screen, if I had my preference, I would have a local housing authority, I would have myself, I would have a real estate agent or a broker, and then if there's anything else specifically local I can work in, I will. But the main three are you, the real estate agent, because that's what people need to know. But most people are going to come out because there's something local and educational. So if you can find your local housing authority, if you can find some kind of a down payment assistance program, if you can find some bond assistance, whatever that program may be, that's what most people are coming out for, is to find out how can I access some assistance to get into a home. And conveniently, the minute I start talking about and introducing local housing authorities and how we can find down payment assistance for people, the conversation stops being about me. It becomes about them and how we find help for them. I just come in secondarily and figure out how I help them with credit and how we qualify, and then the real estate agent figures out how we find the right home for their family, not just a house, but a home. But if you notice, my point is I want to get lost, and the very first topic is about the housing authority or something like that where it takes me out of the potential leadership role, if you will. Now, statistics are important. I track almost everything I can think of. If you track where your leads come from, for me, 82% of my attendees over my career say they read my stuff in the newspapers, which is ironic because everybody tells me that they don't read newspapers anymore, newspapers are dying. But if 82% of my attendees say they saw in the newspaper, either that's the only thing they can remember, or that's really truly where they're getting it from. So as far as I'm concerned, I will continue to do ads in newspapers, and that could be your local newspaper. It could be a Chamber of Commerce mail or something like that that feels newsworthy. But they've got to be in print. You've got to give people the reason or the ability to go back and see this stuff over and over and over. Radio ads are great, but there's no immediate call to action, because what you're going to find is most people need to think about it. And if I look at when most of my calls come in that register online, they're late in the evening after close of business, which means nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody's listening to the radio programs, or if they are, nobody's calling during the day. They want this to be very anonymous. They want to show up in a big group environment. They don't want to be called out specifically. They just want really good information. So from a stats perspective, make sure you give people the ability to see this over and over, put it in the newspaper, and give people ways to register and come anonymously. Last thing I would say is it's amazing the number of people that don't ask their local reporters to be a part of this. They don't write and send press releases. They don't contact the local newspaper, the radio, the TV, penny shoppers in some areas, or even flyer drop-offs. And if it's about me, none of the agents have or reporters have ever covered it. The minute you start talking about my local housing authority, and we have this group of various sponsors that are doing this event, and it's being held at the library or the civic center or the community center, all of a sudden it becomes a big local story, and you can actually get people to give you coverage, whether it's a write-up in the paper or it's on TV. And guess what? The minute the reporter is saying it or they write a story about it, again, it's newsworthy and educational. It's not a salesy presentation from you and I. So if you haven't written a press release before, I would highly challenge you to go try to write one. Grab some of there's templates everywhere you can think of. But get your local reporters involved some way, somehow, and get them talking about your event. Lastly, in terms of the top 10, you've seen that. What's your sizzle? Nobody shows up unless there's some kind of a sizzle. Eric Janesco and the team here put together some great marketing materials for educational seminars like this. And here's an educational seminar. You can go take this back to your office, your client, your team, whomever, and start doing these immediately. But obviously, we know there's a sales presentation somewhere for both Maximum Acceleration, Mortgage Success Source. All of these companies make money somewhere, but they're putting on free educational seminars the exact same way you want to. So what's your sizzle? Come up with, I don't care what it is, but you've got to be the first to the market and the guy who's talking about it the loudest and the longest. Back when the old $8,000 and $7,500 tax credits were here, that was an amazing time to go sell tax credits. However, state down payment is now coming back in many, many areas. I've talked to people in Florida, I've talked to people up in New York, and I've talked to people in Oregon, all three of which say that they're now doing similar down payment assistance as our housing authorities are. So I would be talking about the state down payment assistance. What positioning do you have through your research? And every community and every town is specific, but are there certain women's groups you can get into? Are there certain hometown community heroes you can start educating? Is it the military? Is it police? Is it fire? You'd be amazed how many work groups have associations or have various educational conduits that you just need to tap into. If it's the police, the fire, the military, the Border Patrol, why not start a hometown heroes program that starts educating those people that serve for us how to become a better homeowner, how to finance their home, etc. If you have not seen the boot campaign, we are a huge supporter of the boot campaign, have been doing that for about 3 years, was introduced to that quite some time ago by some very good friends of mine. And the boot campaign is all about supporting our wounded warriors, the Lone Survivor Foundation, things like that. We absolutely live and die by serving those that serve. So a community heroes, military item is very important to me. What things can you get behind and support in the community, but also make it a worthy cause in your area that helps you position? So what's your sizzle? And then most importantly, oh my heavens, if you're not following up, and I mean over and over and over, you're missing the boat. Because the unfortunate thing is most of us say, well, I've been in business 15 years. They should call me. I'm the best. They should call me. And ultimately, the people on the other end of the phone really don't care. They want to buy or finance a home when they want to buy or finance a home. You just happen to need to be in front of them at that appropriate time. So are you emailing them? Have you put together a drip email campaign? Are you personally emailing them? Do you have a routine to call and follow up on them? Do you write them? Do you do all three? And what I would challenge you to do is, if you're actually going to take the time and effort, which it's not a lot of time, it's not a lot of effort to put one of these events on, come up with a campaign that you email them the day after the event and say thank you very much. You mail them a letter 2 days after the email saying, again, I wanted to thank you so very much for attending our seminar. We hope you found it educational and informative. If you have any follow-up questions or feedback, we would be happy to hear that. We'd be happy to talk to you a little bit. And then you know what? A week later, call them. And then after that whole scenario, you do it again and again and again. Because just because people don't call you back doesn't mean they're telling you no. Just means the timing isn't right for them. When they don't want you to call or write or email, they'll tell you. And some of them will tell you nicely, and some of them will tell you absolutely in the most horrible fashion you can think of. But if we're all in sales, we better be prepared for the no. And as far as I'm concerned, I enjoy doing seminars. I enjoy helping educate people. I enjoy helping them fix their credit, figure out how much they can afford, restructure their finances. And my guess is most of you on the call enjoy that part too. So why not more effectively use a bigger net, get people in the door, and turn around and follow up on them over and over and over. Now, the old radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? This is, I think, the critical thing is you've got to think in terms of your attendees more, and equally important, what's in your partner's head. Number one, every one of the partners you sign up, what do they want? They want more customers and more business, the same as you do. So how do you put this together where every one of your sponsors has the potential to earn more customers? And it could be sponsorship acknowledgement, it could be a free gift, could be a coupon, something like that. But how do you make this revenue positive for your partners? Same thing with your attendees. They want free information. They want stuff. So can I give them information about credit? Can I give them information about the local housing market? Can I give them information about how to manage my finances better? And can I help them not make mistakes with their credit? More importantly, you know, give away a free big screen TV, give away a stereo, something like that. Everybody wants to think that they could win it. Why do you think lotteries are so successful? Driving to work, I think the Powerball is now over $220 million. I'm not a rocket scientist, but that takes a lot of people putting money into that to get that pot that high, which means people want free stuff. So give free stuff away at your events. The community wants education. Give away free education. Make yourself a more responsible, better part of the community. The reporters, they need great news. They need things to report on. They need things that are local and feel important to the community, and are you doing a benefit to the community? Most importantly, can you actually make it look like this? And the answer is yes. You can cram 200 people in a room if you want, but you've got to have a unique opportunity. You've got to have a unique set of partners. You've got to have some great sizzle, all of which are not about you and are not about your sales, and they're not about your income. Because the minute it's about you and your income, you're going to have one person sitting in the back of the room trying to figure out what this whole free thing is and how to win a TV. But the minute it becomes about every one of those people in the room wanting to know how to access free down payment, how to fix their credit, how to avoid all the pitfalls that other friends and family members have made with their credit, you can actually crush it. And for me, the exciting thing is, if I get in front of a room like this, I know I'm going to touch 5, 10, 15 people's lives. I'm going to change the way they view credit. I'm going to change the way they view their finances. But ultimately, at some point, people are going to remember this great seminar, and they're going to tell their friends, families, which means I have more chances for referrals. It's actually not really difficult. I will tell you, get over the fear of doing an event, get over the fear of doing public speaking, because ultimately those people who are showing up in the room want to come hear what you already know. They don't know anything about income, assets, credit, debt-to-income ratios, etc. They know about insurance. They know about selling shoes. They know about selling cars. They know all of their professions better than we do, We know mortgage, credit, and income better than they do. So let's go help people get into a home. And like Eric talked about on the beginning of this presentation, this is all about what an amazing market this is in terms of sales prices and interest rates. And oh my heavens, you really mean you can still do only 3.5% down on an FHA loan? Oh, by the way, we might be able to access some housing grants and some community down payment assistance where you may only need 0.5% or 1% out of your own pocket. What an amazing time. And here's the wrap-up for me would be, isn't it interesting that for the last 2.5 years, every news channel has talked about how horrible housing is, how horrible the mortgage industry is, and how negative they are on this whole industry. If you have paid attention to Fox and CNN and CNBC the last, say, 2 weeks, I'm seeing stories over and over about how affordable housing is, how ridiculously low interest rates are, and one I saw yesterday on Fox News was, is now the right time to buy? Okay, for me, if everybody in the world knows you need to buy this stock Google, and Google is at $900 a share, I think, as of last week. The minute everybody knows about it, game over, it's already too late, because it's always the last person on the bus or the last person on the train who really doesn't get that great seat. It's the first people on the bus. It's the first people on the train that get that phenomenally amazing seat. So as you start having the news media talking about this, you can actually leverage that. You can talk to your clients and your referral partners and say, did you see XYZ news company just had this story, and also start talking to your local news people about this. Once you get the ball rolling, it's actually pretty easy. I think the biggest nerve-wracking thing is committing to that date and absolutely getting over the fear of standing in front of potentially 200 people. So with that, I would absolutely entertain any questions, and I hope everybody got those 10 points. Really, there's 12. If you do not have those 12, I'd be more than happy to share those, or I think Eric has this PowerPoint. I'm sure that'll be shared at some point. But what questions do you have, Eric, or what questions do we have from the audience of how to actually pull off a successful seminar?
Well, definitely. We're going to get to Q&A here in just a quick second. By the way, the first question that seems to be coming through that I wanted to address really quickly is we will be sending out a video of today's program along with the links to the PowerPoint and everything shortly after. It does take my team a couple of days to go back through and do all the post-production editing and formatting and rendering of the video and getting it posted up on YouTube and everything. But automatically on or around Thursday, you'll be getting an email that'll have all these talking points and follow-up issues associated. There's a couple of other great questions that I wanted to make sure we hit on as we go through today's program. Derek, one of the first ones that kind of caught my attention, it was something that I've worked with a little bit in the past as well, is what about the higher-end, middle market, higher-end home buyers, not just the first-time home buyers? What type of a seminar environment or what type of a program could you do, informational marketing seminar, that would connect with those buyers?
You know, honestly, we've done a couple, haven't done them in the last couple of years because that market just has not moved at all here. However, when we did them successfully, we actually had wine and cheese open houses and had more of an informal presentation where we would partner with a builder and we would partner with potentially a couple of local community contractors, et cetera, that helped partake in the building of a subdivision. And again, you have a wine and cheese open house and you have an informal presentation about loan programs and whether you want more down payment, less down payment. But those cater to a uniquely different set of clientele that are generally not going to go out to a community center, in my experience. They're not going to go to a library for free information because they already have the income and potentially the credit wherewithal to qualify. So they want to make it feel, or they want to be treated like it's an exclusive country club type atmosphere. So if you can find a high-end builder and partner with them on like a wine and cheese open house and do an informal presentation while you have 15, 20 people sitting on the couches, I think you could do well. But look in your market and find out if those homes and that home price point is moving at this point.
You know, another opportunity here, and I'll address this one that we've had success with, is keep in mind that, you know, that I've in my career, worked very successfully with a number of financial planners, CPAs, and other financial advisors and insurance professionals. And often we'll do informational seminars that talk about the integration of a mortgage. And similar to the program, the webinar we did with David Kuiper a couple of weeks ago, often we would do informational events, home opportunity workshops that were focused a little bit more on how mortgage can become a financial tool and that could be leveraged better as part of their overall long-term financial strategy. And so that we would weave that into some of the informational seminars that a lot of financial planners in my market were already doing anyway. So I was able to actually very successfully dovetail off of some of what the CPAs and financial planners in my market were already doing. And again, we were creating that 1 and 1 is 11 type of effect where we were leveraging each other's strengths and getting a better reach. Okay, a couple of other questions. Derek, you mentioned a couple of times follow-up. You know, the key is, guys, this is an opportunity to meet people who have an expressed desire or interest in bettering their family through home ownership. What are some of your favorite follow-up strategies? What are the things that you try and implement to continue to engage and continue that conversation through to its profitable conclusion?
You know what? It's no duplicate entry. I hate having to reinvent the wheel. One of my favorite ones is there's an automated email campaign right in Loan Toolbox in the Platinum Plus. I put everybody who attends my seminar with an email address right on that homebuyer email and let that start dripping on them. And then really it's blind carbon copy emails, because my guess is you're going to have somewhere between 40 and 100 people show up. You can do a blind carbon copy email right out of Outlook. And so I write one email, send it out to everybody, and then at that point, I just have a script right here on the side of my desk with a clipboard, and I go right down and say, dial Eric Janesco's number. Eric, Derek Egeberg, Academy Mortgage, thank you so very much for attending my seminar, and you go right into 2 minutes worth of information. But it's as simple as you can make it. Automated email follow-up campaigns, blind carbon copy, one email to however many people show up, and then it's just carving out the time to make the phone call and the letters. And if you are fairly good with a computer, you can get a handwritten font and you can get like a personalized stationery. And I have a couple of generic letters that I just hit mail merge, and I print 50, 100, 200 letters at a time. They all come out. My receptionist folds them, sticks them in an envelope, and she hand addresses them for me and sends them out. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to do it. However, it's not that time consuming, but I have letters that look like they're fairly handwritten. We do it on an inkjet printer, so it looks like it was actually written with a ballpoint pen or a felt tip pen, whichever you will. But make it where it's easy and repetitive, or you can do it repetitively, or you're not going to do it.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Derek, keeping moving on, there were a couple of requests to repeat bullet point number 6, and I think it might be a little bit of the screen layout. A little bit of post-editing probably needs to be done on our PowerPoint slides here. But what was point number 6 one more time?
Bullet point 6 is what's going to get them there. That was a copy of one of the original marketing brochures that I had. So part of it is the offer, but what's really going to get them to the workshop? It's not you and your pretty face, although I would like to think it is. It never is. It's the topics of discussion, it's the free prizes, and it's the unique start and end times. And that's one thing I didn't mention is everybody wants to know the end time. Nobody wants to say I'm showing up for a seminar at 10 a.m. because does it feel like it's a timeshare pitch where you're going to be locked in there till 5 p.m.? Tell people this is only an hour. Tell them somehow it's 10 to 11, it's 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening, that there is a definitive start time and end time, no questions asked.
Awesome, awesome. All right, a couple of key questions, by the way. There was one other thing I wanted to circle back on, guys. If you'd like more information about some of the tools or resources that Derek has shared with you available from Loan Toolbox or Mortgage Success Source, you can certainly call out to our Maximum Acceleration coaching team. We can get you set up. We are an affiliate partner with Mortgage Success Source and can help you guys get set up with those follow-up campaigns. Very easy, very cost-efficient, and very effective. In addition to that, there was one more question I wanted to kind of get into, which is something that Derek, you shared with me personally a couple of months ago that I thought was just revolutionary in how you do seminars, because I was kind of the typical loan officer. I would go get my favorite real estate agent, I would go get my favorite insurance agent, I would get my favorite financial planner, and the four of us would go do a workshop together, and we'd get 15, 20 people there. You do something very unique when it comes to how you engage a lot of agents. So the question in the Q&A that came through that triggered this thought is, how do you involve an agent or broker and still get sponsors and other agents to help promote your event?
I think it's just that communication. We're always so scared to involve one because we're going to alienate another. And really what it comes down to for me is who sees the value in putting this together. Is it a builder that has a couple of agents that work for them? Is it a broker that has multiple agents that work for them? Because the builder and the broker understand that people are horrible with follow-up. And if I'm helping with a follow-up system and I'm going to basically hand gift some contacts or leads or communication, there's something for them to give out that has some value if you will. So I would just simply have that conference and say, look, Mr. Builder, Mr. Broker, I want to put this presentation together, and we're going to involve one of your agents or you as the speaker, but this is for everybody on your team. Let's go develop 50, 100, 200 leads, and then you guys work them like crazy, the same as I will, and we'll pass them back and forth. If you open a conversation that way, I think it's come off very well. The minute you have to close it down because it's only one person and you're worried about what other people are going to think, they're not going to follow up anyway. They really don't.
Awesome, 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 guys. All right, well, folks, as we get to the Q&A, there's a couple more questions that I'd love to be able to get back into. You know what? I think we've got time for just one more, Derek, that I want you to kind of address. Let's see. The question is from Joe. What about approaching individual businesses with a good-sized workforce and offering a free informational workshop? Is that a practical approach or strategy?
I think that's a huge one. Now, what I would say is I think you're turning the prism a little bit. Now you're not necessarily educational in the community. You have a captured audience. And with that, I would totally change gears, and I would put together some kind of a employee benefits program, a discounted mortgage program, something like that, where you go back into the old mortgage planning practice and you say, we will take care of all of your customers, and this is how we're going to give you a better deal. And this is why you need to invite us in here every week or every month or every quarter, whatever it is, to give you 15, 20 minutes worth of tips, and we'll bring lunch once a quarter. Great idea, but at that point now you want to be the key man because you're preaching directly to somebody that you know all about them and their employer. So I would not involve sponsors at that point. At that point, it's my show, and I'm going to show you why we're the best.
Awesome, awesome. So a different strategy, but also a very effective approach to being able to cast a bigger net and reach a larger audience. Well, folks, a couple of quick things. I'm going to give you some information. Many of you are asking questions about how to get more support or direct guidance on implementing some of these strategies in your unique market. I'm going to walk you through some additional opportunities here. And then there's an action planning element to today's program that I want you to stick around for at the very end as we go through. Thank you for the questions. By the way, if you guys think of additional questions you want to go ahead and post, our team will make sure we follow up. We will get a log of the Q&A report and make sure we're following up with the additional questions that we've run out of time to cover in today's program. By the way, Derek, thank you again for just the wealth of information you've shared and the really amazing, cool strategies that you're implementing, and the results that you're getting, I think, are pretty dramatic. All right, guys, so a couple of quick things. Upcoming announcements. I'm sorry, Derek, were you going to share one other last final thought?
Just the final thought is just go do it. Get over the fear. It's amazing how we presuppose what people are going to think. We presuppose how it's going to come off. And I don't care whether there's 10 people there or 100. Let's go have some fun. Let's get it done. Let's make a difference in your own mortgage practice. And at the same time, let's go make a difference in everybody who shows up. And if you've ever read the book Good to Great, or if you've read some of the other training books, the Blue Ocean Strategy, go figure out where nobody else is. And right now everybody's preaching refinances and HARP and all this other stuff. go start preaching purchases and show people why you can make a difference in your community again, and you can talk about home ownership, because it's amazing there's not more people in that space right now. So go get it done, get over the fear, and my guess is you can crush it if you do it consistently.
Well, awesome. Thanks again, Derek. And to that point exactly, guys, I'm going to share with all of you one of the strategies that's working extremely well for a lot of our coaching clients is not only are we talking about the home opportunities for first-time home buyers, we're talking about the home opportunities within our existing sphere of influence and past customers as well. It's under this context, there's about 6 different key categories of people who can really benefit from this housing affordability, and it's not just the renter to buyer situation. It also could be potentially the couple that's in too small of a home. The house they bought in 2006, and they bought an entry-level 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot starter home because that's all they could afford at the time when interest rates were 6%. Now 5 years later, they're making more money. Home interest rates are much cheaper, and therefore they can afford a lot more house for the money. I mean, think about it, guys. I did some quick numbers with one of my active clients earlier this week, and we looked at, what does $2,500 a month buy you at 6% interest rate versus 4% interest rate? At a 6% interest rate, $2,500 a month principal and interest only mortgage payment is a $416,000 loan. At 4% interest rate, it's a $523,000 loan. So over $100,000 more house for the same payment. So what would an extra $100,000 buy you in today's real estate market versus the 2006 real estate market? So there's a whole lot of people out there sitting in homes that are really a poor fit for their family and their situation that don't even realize how great of an opportunity there is to upgrade. So maybe there's an opportunity to do another informational seminar for a group of realtors to invite everybody that's bought a home in the last 10 years from them and talk about this home upgrade opportunity. A third key category of opportunity to help people and make a huge difference is with people who are, in a situation where, because of the economic pressures of the last 6-7 years, they've had to change jobs. Now all of a sudden they've got a horrible commute. They're spending an hour, hour and a half, 20, 25, 30 miles a day back and forth to work. And just think about the cost of that. I mean, if they're burning through 5-6 tanks of gas a week at $100 a pop, they're burning through $1,200, $1,500 in gas just commuting. What if they could find a home that was a little bit closer to work and reduce their commute expense? How much more affordability would that give them? So it's all these kind of concepts, and focusing on one key thing that I wanted to zero in on that Derek shared with you is what's in it for them, how do they benefit, and who is it that has a need that housing creates a solution to? And how do we get that message out to them before the market takes off and housing affordability deteriorates ridiculously fast? Those are the kind of concepts, ideas, and strategies that we want to be implementing in our practices on a daily basis. Now, for those of you who have the question about how do you get more help, more direct guidance, what does Maximum Acceleration offer, I want to share with you some different additional ways to participate at a deeper level than just our free webinar programs. But I did want to let you know next week's free continuation of the series, I'm going to be focusing on mastering first impressions. Your guide to making a lasting high-impact impression. We're going to talk about how to translate from being a vendor to an advisor and how to make that happen at the first point of contact with a potential buyer. It goes back to the old cliche, we never get a second chance to make a first impression. So we're going to show you how to make the right first impression next week. For those of you who prefer live training, here's a couple of events coming up. We have our Maximum Growth Summit workshops that are going to be coming up. Oops, clicked the wrong button. Bear with me just a second, guys, and we'll get back on track. Next week, we are going to be going to the, coming up the first week of June, from the 5th through 7th of June, we are going to be presenting our Maximum Growth Summit, which is a 4.5-hour live training workshop where you're going to walk through what you need to do to charge up your business for the next 12 months and what are the components and how to take you step by step from where you are to where you want to be in a radically shorter period of time. It's a informational guidance, guided learning process. You'll come out with an actual action plan. This is going on in conjunction with Stephen Marshall's Mastermind 2013 program in Las Vegas. Tickets to the Mastermind also get you access to the Maximum Growth Summit. If you're needing tickets for that event, you can reserve your spot for only $4.49 if you use the discount code Acceleration. Start by going to our website, mxlcoach.com/events, sign in for the Maximum Growth Summit, which will be free, and then use the discount code Acceleration to register for your tickets to the Mastermind event. Alternatives, if you don't like going to Vegas or you are on the East Coast and you'd like to be able to get access to a similar program, we're going to be doing the Maximum Growth Summit in 4 breakout sessions at the Ultimate Mortgage Expo, which is going to be in Atlantic City on the 9th through the 11th of June. By the way, you'll also have the opportunity for, I think it works out to about $40 if you want to go ahead and knock out your annual CE at that event. You'll have that opportunity as well there. Be able to get tickets for free to the event through the 15th, and this only goes through the 15th of May. After that point, tickets are going to be the regular price, $295. If you do want to be able to attend the event for free, there will be additional charges for meals and additional, if you want to go ahead and do your 8 hours of CE, continuing education credits, those cost a little bit extra. But if you want to get tickets to the event for free, you can come as our guest. Use discount code MADISC. You can get tickets at ultimatemortgageexpo.com. Ultimatemortgageexpo.com and MADISC are the 2 different live events to where you can get the information, tools, and resources in a live training summit-type event where we're going to walk you through and you're going to leave with a complete action plan and all the tools and resources you need to take your business and create transformational radical growth. Next most important opportunity is what we call our Critical Mass program. This is a live group coaching program, no more than 8 in a group at a time. We'll be participating in an interactive masterminding curriculum-based program that's all founded on this one concept of creating a self-sustaining and self-perpetuating business growth cycle. We'll walk you through step-by-step the top 13 competencies. What have we done over the last 10 years through 3,000 plus clients that have been through our one-on-one coaching program? What have we learned about the 13 most important competencies to grow your business on a radically faster path? And we'll share with you those one step at a time through this group coaching program. The investment that you would want to make for that program is a simple program. It costs $449 to get started, $399 per month thereon. By the way, it is a month-by-month program. We do 2-hour launch session. The first session starts on May 17th. If you'd like to be able to take advantage of that program, all you need to do is go and open your web browser right now. Go to our www.mxlcoach.com website. Go to the Programs tab under Group Coaching, and all the information you need about scrolling down and registering for that program today is available. The cutoff for enrollment into that program and investing in yourself, being one of the 1%ers who want to take your business to the next level. That program starts May 17th. Look, if you think about it, guys, you do 1 additional loan a month. For most loan officers, you're going to get a 4 to 6 times return on your monthly coaching investment of $397. In addition to that, you get all the bonus offers. You'll be able to get the access to the entire video library, PowerPoint, and tools from the Maximum Influence series, which was a regular price of $499 to attend that program. That comes along with the Maximum Growth Summit investment, or with the enrollment into the Critical Mass Group Coaching Program. For those of you who want to take it even to a deeper level and you want to get more information about how to really supercharge your business and get some one-on-one direct support, we do have the option of going ahead and talking about doing one-on-one coaching. We do this in a one-on-one environment, and we've simply found that the best way to understand the true value of coaching is to actually experience it. So we offer a free coaching or strategy session with one of our Maximum Acceleration coaches. There is literally no pressure, no cost, no obligation. We are going to give you a true coaching experience. You're going to walk away from having invested an hour of your time with a solid action plan and tools and strategies you need to execute those strategies. If you want to pursue coaching deeper, at a deeper level at that point, we'll talk about how to make that work for you and what kind of investment is required on both sides of the equation. Okay? Otherwise, last thing that I want to share with all of you, I wouldn't be doing my job as a coach if I didn't challenge you to implement and execute on today's strategies. So the first thing you want to take advantage of is take the time that you've invested in today's program and do something with the time you've invested. Now, the reason I challenge you in this way is because think about it. You've gotten some great ideas shared with you. Now, the challenge is if you don't implement them, are they of any value? Or have you just wasted an hour of your time if you don't execute? The reality is ideas without action are useless. They hold no value. So now it's time to take action. So the way to do this, and the best and fastest way to do this, is decide what was the most valuable thing you heard in today's program. Pick the one idea first. You're going to have the recording to refer back to later. You can come back and absorb the additional information along the way. But the one idea, the one thing that's going to be most valuable to you in the execution of this plan, what's that one thing that you want to implement first? Secondly, is decide what action do you need to take to make that a part of your daily business. What is the specific next step for you? What do you need to do to take and make this idea a part of your daily business and what you do regularly? Decide what that next action is, what's required. In fact, take a few seconds and do it right now before you get on your next phone call, before you look at your next email, before you close down this webinar platform. Take 5 minutes and write down the answers to these 3 questions. What was the most valuable thing you heard in today's program? What's the one idea you want to implement first? Secondly, what action do you need to take to make that a part of your daily business, starting right now? Third, by when will you have that action implemented? Set a specific target date for completion. We all respond better to deadlines. We'll procrastinate indefinitely if there's no definite timeline. And then the fourth piece is the secret sauce of it, is accountability. And the secret to accountability is making a promise to somebody else. Now, it's really easy to break the promises we make to ourselves. Look at New Year's resolutions, for example. What is the statistics? 95% of New Year's resolutions are broken by January 2nd. But imagine if you asked somebody to hold you accountable. Take, for example, let's say you wanted to lose some weight, so you decided you were going to start a jogging program. Okay? You go out, you do it maybe January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd. January 4th, it's cold, it's wet, it's ugly. Yeah, but you know you made a commitment, you made a promise to yourself, so you go out and do it. January 5th, it's even colder, it's even wetter. You got 6 inches of snow the day before. It's nasty, it's wet, it's cold. You're tired, you're sore. So you roll back over in bed, you hit the snooze button, you go back to sleep for another 20 minutes. Now imagine if you had told a buddy about your idea to lose some weight by starting jogging, and your buddy says, yeah, let's do that together. Let's be running buddies. So January 6th rolls around, and you're tired, you're cold, you're sore, it's cold, it's wet, nasty, it's wet out, and you don't really want to go jogging, but you know your buddy's going to be on your doorstep at 5:30 to go jogging. So you get up and you go. See, that promise that we make to somebody else can sometimes be the secret between doing or not. So decide who in your life is somebody you trust, somebody you respect enough, somebody that you value their opinion enough that when you tell them what you're going to do and you ask them to follow up on that with you, that you'll actually do it. Somebody that you respect enough that you're going to feel guilty if you don't follow through on that promise. Tell them what you're going to do with this one first idea and ask them to follow up with you on or around your target date, and ask them to be your accountability partner and hold you on track with following through on those ideas and strategies. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and close out the action items for today's program. We're going to go ahead and leave the webinar open for just a few more minutes if you want to go ahead and take an opportunity to put in some additional questions into the Q&A, or if you'd like to go ahead and take advantage of one of those free, no-cost, no-obligation coaching sessions, get a sample strategy and coaching session so that you get an opportunity to be able to get the real feel and understanding of the value of coaching once you've experienced it. We can talk a little bit more about how to help that take that to a whole other level for you in your business. I'll leave the Q&A open for just a few more minutes. Otherwise, I challenge you to take these ideas, strategies, implement them, do something with them, and make them change your business and how you produce results in the future. Because that's what this initiative is all about. Like Derek said, it's not about creating a sales pitch. It's not about introducing you to concepts that, for the great majority of you, you've got tremendous value out of today's program. I shared with you, for those of you that are the 5%ers that are serious about getting direct support, investing in yourself, and maximizing your growth, those options are available to you as well. If not, no big deal. We're only looking for the few select few, and we don't have that many sessions or seats open available right now anyway. I think we're going on about 22 seats open for this entire audience. If everybody on this program signed up for one-on-one coaching, we'd have a waiting list of about 25 people. So, you know, if you're one of the 5, then let's talk. If you guys have gotten great value out of today's program and coaching's not a right fit for you right now, that's fine. We'd love to still continue to have you a part of our group and learn from the resources, tools, and materials we're sharing through this forum and this venue, because that's what we're really here to do, is help you take it from where you are to where you want to go as fast as humanly possible. That is our sole purpose as a coaching company. So thank you for investing the time, and I want to applaud all of you for taking the initiative to pursue a higher level